are some of your favorite musical groups that you enjoy listening to? One of the groups I like is the Beatles, a really new group you may have heard of. And the Beatles had not only a song, but a movie that was titled Help. And if you know the Beatles song Help, you know it starts, help, I need somebody, help, not just anybody, help. Well, Psalm 146 is a song of help, and it's a song praising God for God's help for all kinds of people. And that's the biblical passage. I'd encourage you to read all of it. It's only 10 verses long, so you can read it in your own Bible very easily. But it's a psalm that begins with praising God for God's help and admonishing and encouraging us not to put our trust in princes, not in human leaders, because they die just like everything else. And verses 5 through the end are just an affirmation, a song of help. Happy are those whose help is the God of Jacob, whose hope is in the Lord their God. And the verse of the day I want to share with you is verse 9. The Lord watches over the strangers. He upholds the orphan and the widow, but the way of the wicked he brings to ruin. Psalm 146 is a reminder, and there are so many that I've shared with you from the Bible over the last couple years, that the Bible constantly lifts up that God especially watches over the stranger or the alien, the orphan, the widow, those who are most vulnerable in society. We need to understand that God especially has his eye on them and looks out for them, watches over them, upholds and protects them. But the way of the wicked he brings to ruin. And I know it sounds kind of basic, like we want to be on the side of good and we want to be on the side of God, but we really do. And we don't want to be found with the wicked, with the unrighteous, with those who blatantly violate what God tells us to do. And just like the passage I shared yesterday from Isaiah 35, Psalm 146 is a passage that's often read and used during the season of Advent because it again offers a prophetic foreshadowing of what Jesus would do in his life and in his ministry. It says, the Lord sets the prisoners free at the end of verse 7. The Lord opens the eyes of the blind. He lifts up those who are bowed down. The Lord loves the righteous. And again, these are all things we see Jesus doing in his life and in his ministry. And because Jesus does them, we want to make sure that we are doing the same things that Jesus does. We want to be agents and instruments of healing, of justice, of protection, of generosity towards those who are most vulnerable and caring for them, because that is who God calls us to be and what God calls us to do, not just at Christmas time, but 365 days a year.